From east to the west, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
It's the premier sports betting show with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and this is the Primetime Angles. And we are live, but you already know that you can watch this show on replay. But you know, it is what it is, and we just get back to it, just cashing tickets and making you some money, man. That's all it's about. Yesterday, we got the dog of the day yesterday with the NBA. Cashed out the Thunder last night, plus 150. I don't know why you guys keep believing that the Warriors are going to be able to make you some money on the road, because they are the worst road team I've ever seen win a championship the year before. It's just, and stop making excuses, because Curry's been at least 80% of those games that they lost on the road. So you can cut the excuse out that Curry wasn't there and Draymond wasn't there and you know, and Steve Kerr wasn't there, and like, yeah, okay. If you're great, you're great. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But let's go ahead and jump into the NFL, because, you know, the NFL is king when it comes to the sports world, even though we don't have a game going on for the next 6 months. But still, we're going to talk about everything that's under the sun in the NFL once something happens. In any other sport, when somebody signs a deal, hey, you signed your deal, good job, extension. We'll talk about it more when we get to the press conference. No, the NFL, you have to get the Adam Schefter confirmation. Then you got to go ahead and get the confirmation from Rappaport. Then you got to get the confirmation from NFL Network. You got to get the confirmation from ESPN. And then you finally get the confirmation from the actual team 2 days later. So that's how it goes in today's sports world, the NFL. So the NFL is king. So yesterday, as I said, while I was talking about Lamar, this came across my feed that Daniel Jones had been extended and they had tagged Saquon Barkley. Okay. And this is my question. After the Giants extend Daniel Jones and tag Saquon Barkley, will they pursue a trade for a big name receiver? Because at this point right now, you have Hopkins up for sale in a sense. And believe it or not, you got Michael Thomas up for sale right now as well. You know what I mean? Because they just gave Derek Carr a whole lot of money. So, you know, they're paying that guy a whole lot of money as well, too. And he was a little insubordinate. So that's why I say that maybe he might be on the trade block as well. Brandon Cooks is another guy who's going to be on the trade block. They just cut Robbie Anderson the other day. I would love to see Robbie Anderson go back to New York and actually play for the Giants, because he can't be the deep threat that Daniel Jones has been craving for. Now, Saquon Barkley is getting a little disrespected in my eyes, because they know that they can't meet in the middle on a deal. Look, he's looking more for 16. They're looking to pay 14. And I would say that they're going to get stuck in the middle at 15, but they're going to work this thing out through the offseason and as we get to training camp. And I think it will probably be a prove it to us season for Saquon Barkley, or the Giants could go ahead and get smart with this thing, draft a couple running backs in the draft, and actually get another player in place for Saquon and some draft picks as well for down the road. But I say that you build with Saquon, and literally Daniel Jones is just another employee, because I feel like your most important player is Saquon Barkley. And as long as Saquon Barkley's healthy and as long as he's on the field, it's always going to be a very good situation for the Giants moving forward. The Giants made the playoffs simply because the grit and determination that Saquon had throughout the season. And Daniel Jones was able to relish off of that. So that made things a lot more easier for the Giants, and that's what made the Giants have such a successful season. I truly do think that this was always going to happen. You extend Daniel Jones because the first thing they offered, he took. It's that simple. And Saquon, you know, being tagged, that frees up more money. So then if you have to make a deal down the road, you can make that deal down the road. But that also gives them the exclusive rights to go ahead and re-sign their best player. And literally, let's keep it real. Saquon is the face of the franchise until further notice. So it is what it is. And pretty much, you see the overvalue of the quarterback and the undervalue of the running back at its absolute best when it comes to this Giants situation. So let's go ahead and jump into 30 teams in 30 days. And we have ourselves up first. We have ourselves the Oakland A's today. The Oakland A's are a team that's looking to get back on the good foot somewhat. Well, they're trying to be kind of relevant again, because at the end of the day, that was a atrocious season from the Oakland A's. The Oakland Athletics actually went ahead and lost 102 games, one of the worst teams in the MLB last year when it came to wins and losses last year. And it was dreadful from absolutely day one. You know what I mean? So it was never a good look for this team. It never went the way that this team wanted it to go last season. So, there's just a lot of things that this team has to build on at this point, and they're just not there yet. You know what I mean? And you know that the A's are a team that literally has made themselves more about the building of a team than actually getting free agents. So it's all about what they got down in the farm. And let's just keep it real. It's always about what they have at the farm. It's not ever going to be about, them bringing in some big time players, because that time is past with the Oakland A's. Because we remember when there was a time where the A's would be in there having, the best of the best in the league. But it's not like that anymore. Okay. They're gonna play it cheap every year and hope for the best. But literally, when they get a really good player, what they do is they move that player for assets. It's that simple. And they're going to always get those assets. So the A's way is a way that fans have to do a lot of waiting. So you have to get yourself prepared for that situation. But losing 102 games last season, that was almost like that was inevitable. Everybody had the feeling that was going to happen to this team. Now you look at it and you say to yourself, okay, this team I'm over here putting together their over under wins and losses for this year. So when you look at this team, you say, what do they have? They have Anthony Kemp, who's a decent player at the top. It seems like this is more about him being a leadoff man, but they only have him projected to steal 10 bases. We need a little bit more than that. Lariano is a guy that is going to play outfield. He doesn't hit well for average, but he may hit 19 home runs next year. That's what they have him projected as, but he's a high strikeout guy as well too. So they're going to have some issues, you know what I mean? Moving forward. Also, you have Jesus Aguilar at DH. He's the cleanup man, but he's only seen to hit 14 home runs. Seth Brown is seen as the big hitter for this lineup, but they don't have him projected to not do much either this year, because they have him striking out 138 times and walking 41. Like, really? Like, wow. How bad do you have to be? This is when you see what this team is going through right at this point in time. So, there's just nothing here, and losing 100 games will probably be very, very likely for this team as well too, because I'm looking at the pitching staff. Paul Blackburn was okay last year. They got Carpelian, who was okay last year. They're both hurt, but they got Fujinami. Fujinami might be somebody that's going to be decent, because he's Fujinami. You know what I mean? So usually when you got a bad staff, that usually becomes the guy that becomes your best pitcher most years. And then you got Drew Rakinski, who has some good numbers projected for this year, but nothing that's going to just, move the needle too much. And then Ken Waldichuk is probably going to be the guy that will win the most games this year, because he does have the lowest projected ERA with 3.98, and they do have him striking out 2-1 this year as well. And they got him going almost 130 innings. So I think that all in all, when you look at this team and look at how they're set up right now, this team, right, is really in a position to where they're saying that this team is not going to be able to win that many games this year. And they have them actually at 3 wins lesser than they actually had last season. They won 60 games and then lost 102. This year, I think that they're possibly a 55-win team because they're just that bad. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the under 59.5 win-loss over under on the A's this year. Okay, because the A's, I don't have much to say about the A's. I'm looking at this projected lineup, and it's just we building over here. You know what I mean? Like the A's are trying to have like 5 straight years of having the number 1 pick, it looks like, because this team is awful. And, you know, I hate to even say that about baseball teams, that they're going to be awful, but you might be able to get some really good dog bets out of Oakland this year, because most of their good wins are going to come against teams that are way better than them. These type of teams get feasted on by bad teams. You know what I mean? Good teams always seem to go ahead and kind of fall asleep at the wheel when dealing with a situation like this that the A's are going through. So those are going to be really good value games for us moving forward. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Oakland A's, 30 teams in 30 days. We are covering the NL West this week. So there it is. Over under 59.5. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. All right, let's go ahead and get into our conference championship games for today. And I know one has already started because I kind of started the show a little too late, but that's okay because I already released it on Twitter, so you guys do have it. Northwestern, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. From what I see here is I like Northwestern State in this game today. I like Northwestern State straight up. I had them at plus 130 today. So pretty much don't worry. I did not put them a part of our talking tickets. I knew that the game was going to be a little early. So, I don't try to put any games on there unless it's 4 p.m. or better. The early is 3:30. So then I can make sure that you guys get enough time just in case I do the show at a time like this. So pretty much let's go ahead and talk about this one real quick. Northwestern comes into the game. As the 2 seed, you got Texas A&M. Corpus Christi is the 1 seed. Both these teams, like, literally did not have to do any heavy lifting to get here. So that's why it's, like, not much to talk about, because literally New Orleans and McNeese State had a beautiful run in the tournament. And then all that was upended last night when they both lost to Northwestern and Texas A&M. So it took a little bit of the sizzle out the game, but this is exactly how the game was going to, how everybody envisioned the game setting up anyway. These are the best 2 teams in the conference. And right now, this game is actually going on. So it's a live bet situation now. So pretty much with this game, you have to look at it and say to yourself, whoever wants it more is going to be the winner. And that's very cliche to say, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it checks out. I love Northwestern State in the spot to go ahead and get this one home. And man, you got to respect the logos here too as well, man. You know what I mean? Look at that cool logo. The Islanders versus the boys from Louisiana, Northwestern State. So this should be a very, very good game. I look forward to seeing the outcome of it. And as I said before, if you guys are on my Twitter, it is on the timeline showing that I am riding with Northwestern State today at the plus 130. Our future ticket got burnt up because Nicholas State lost in the quarterfinals. So, it is what it is at the end of the day. We move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be a real good one. That's going to be between 2 arch rivals in Colgate and Lafayette. Lafayette comes into the game 11-22. Colgate comes into the game 25-8. And believe it or not, Lafayette was actually like a 6 seed. So they weren't like that low of a seed because they won most of their games in conference. So this is a different type of animal that is going at it today. You know what I mean? This game does start at 4:30 as well, too, on CBS Sports. So if you guys need another network, that's exactly what network it will be on. So I'm looking at this right now. You have a Lafayette team that finished their season absolutely dreadful. They actually wound up losing the last 7 out of 10 games, including 4 in a row going into the tournament. Then they were able to get a big upset in the first round against Lehigh. And then they beat American, a team that had a winning record but were the 7th seed. But also got a great win over the 2 seed Navy. So these were 2 really good wins against 2 of the top seeds in the tournament. Now they could go ahead and get the trifecta today by beating the old rival in Colgate. But I truly do feel like this game, they're only putting a 14 on here because the differential in record. But if they understood the rivalry between Lafayette and Colgate, this game would be a lot closer on the spread if bettors understood that part. Veteran bettors understand it because they're giving them Lafayette at a number that's very, very nice. But the newer bettors will probably look at this and say, oh, man, Colgate should go ahead and beat these guys by 20 or better. It's not that type of game, fellas. I promise you that Lafayette's going to be knee-deep in this one. So I love them at the plus 14 today. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. This should be a good one here. And Colgate has a lot. Colgate cannot overlook Lafayette for a minute. And, you know, if they truly do, then we can possibly get ourselves an upset. I'm bold today. I'm taking them to win this game, okay? I'm taking Lafayette to be a losing a team with a losing record to get to the NCAA tournament this year. And, you know, if they get in there playing, we know that. But still, at the end of the day, I got them winning today. 7-1. Let's go ahead and see if we can get that bad boy home. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a little crazy Gideon today. All right, so here we go. Let's jump into the nightcap of championship games, and that's going to be this one right here. It's going to be Northern Arizona versus Montana State in the Big Sky. Big Sky Championship. Oh, my goodness. We had some games last night. Northern Arizona upsets the number 1 seed in Montana. Montana was looking to make it to, their 4th tournament in the last 5 years or so, but that did not happen last night. Montana State had to deal with a very tough Weber State team that I had selected to win this tournament. They went all the way down to the final minutes in both overtimes, and they actually had a double overtime game. And you know what? They didn't even score that many points last night. It was just that good of a game last night. And wound up finishing up 58-56. And Montana State, will they be a little bit too tired tonight when they step into this game? Probably so. But I truly do feel like Northern Arizona got their big win last night, and I think it's probably going to take a whole lot out of them. And Montana State knows that they have to be very alert in this game because they can't slip up a moment, because this is a trip to the NCAA. This is pretty much de facto national championship for Northern Arizona. And Montana State, this is pretty much your national championship as well, too. These are 2 teams that, you know, regardless of winning this game, regardless of who the winner of this game is, both these teams are pretty much first game and they're out. You know, they're one and done teams. You know what I mean? And I hate to talk like that, but let's just keep it real. Montana probably had the best opportunity of advancing, but Montana's out. So Montana State in Northern Arizona, this is everything. So they will lay it all on the line, but I do feel like Montana State can win this game with the 6.5 tonight. I think they win the game by 10 or better, because I think that Northern Arizona is going to wind up being an overbet, and I think that they played their absolute best game of the season last night, and I don't think that they'll be able to duplicate it today. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take our first commercial break. And when we get back, we will go ahead and jump into the state of the Lakers, and we'll also jump into the NBA Thursday night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, and I'll be right back at you.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into the state of the Lakers. The Lakers last night, 32 and 34, have won 7 out of 10. Also, the Lakers have won was it their last? No, I won't say it was their last 3 in a row, but they've won 2 in a row. Good win on Sunday versus the Warriors. Great win last night versus the Grizzlies. We know that they were shorthanded. There was no Ja last night, but you know what? This is the NBA. We're not worried about who the other team doesn't have. You know what I mean? They have other players that showed up. They didn't forfeit the game, and those guys want to play some great basketball as well too. So you know what? At the end of the day, we got to stop acting like they're playing 1-on-5 because they're definitely not. But I can't say this one thing though is I'm very proud of this Laker team, the way that they've stepped it up over these last few over this last stretch of not having LeBron. LeBron got put out last Sunday. Pretty much he finished the game, but he had a really bad foot situation going, but that was just the culmination of having a bad foot all season. So LeBron's been dealing with this injury since day one, and a lot of people just are very I would say very critical of it because they feel like he got hurt because of low management and things of that nature. My biggest question is, why can't LeBron get days off? He's 38 years old. And LeBron was never, I got to be a low management guy. You guys have to understand, this comes from up top. And they say the players hate it, but that's a lie. The players love it because they're able to they're able to extend their careers somewhat as well too. But I'm not going to get into this debate about it because people feel like people are going to be stuck in their ways. Everybody wants to keep living from 30 years ago, but 30 years ago is been gone. You know what I mean? So literally, if you don't like what's going on today, you don't have to look at the product, okay? And that's my 2 cents on that situation. But AD has stepped it up and has became the leader of the Lakers, which he was already destined to be. It was never about LeBron leading the Lakers. It was about LeBron helping Anthony Davis establish himself as a bigger star in the NBA. Before Anthony Davis came to the Lakers, we could easily consider him a top 5 player. But since playing with the Lakers and playing with LeBron, he's kind of tailed off to maybe a top 15 player now. But I still feel he's a top 5 player when it's just about him. And last night proved that. And if you guys look at the numbers over the last few games, AD scored 105. AD has actually scored, believe it or not, AD has actually scored 110 points in the last 3 games. So that would mean that he's averaging almost 35 points a game, now almost 36 points a game over the last 3 games. AD is playing out of his mind. And then when you look at the rebound situation, 17, 19, and last night, I think he had 15. So when you do the math on that situation as well, too, he's getting almost 16 and a half rebounds a game in that stretch. He is playing. Those are MVP numbers. That's not getting spoken about enough. All they worried about is, when's LeBron going to come back? And are they going to be able to win without LeBron? They've been winning without LeBron. They had a moment where LeBron sat out 2 games and they won 2 games in a row. I think that, they all say that the team's gotten better since Westbrook left. I feel like the team has gotten better since LeBron got hurt. And it's no diss to LeBron. LeBron is a legend. LeBron is a guy in the game. I don't care how you feel about him, what you want to say about him. You know the boy is good. You know that he's a legend and he's a god when it comes to playing this game of basketball. It's not, I know it's Jordan and and everybody's obsession, with the shoe man. But at the end of the day, we know what time it is. We know that today's NBA is LeBron's world. And literally, LeBron is at the end. And so putting so much pressure on LeBron is absolutely stupid. I think that we understand that he's already proven his point. Now he's trying to help AD establish his legacy. And I feel like AD needed LeBron to go out so then he could see for himself if he's worth all the commotion. And he definitely is. I don't care what anybody says. And I think that I was one of the harshest critics when we traded for him, but I am grateful that we do have a championship because of him. And now the Lakers are in position to be right back where they were when they were winning that championship because they have the same type of roster in place of guys that are going to work hard to get their minutes. Not guys that are just going to be spectators and be lackadaisical and enjoy the fact that they're playing next to LeBron and AD. I felt like Pat Bev, Russell Westbrook were great defensive guys, but they're hotheads. And they're guys that lose their cool too quickly, and they're guys that will mess up a whole game for you, getting texts at the wrong moment, making passes at the wrong time, taking ill-advised shots that literally you shouldn't be taking. But the biggest problem with those two was they weren't letting the coach, and you can tell. Now you can see that they were not letting the coach do his part. They were too busy questioning everything that he wanted to do. And so when you get those guys out the room, now the coach can be loose and he can actually coach the team up. And that's exactly what Ham has been doing since the All-Star break and since they made these trades. And even before they made these trades, when they were still, chasing LeBron's scoring record. So all in all, I'm very happy to see the Lakers in this position right now. They are playing great basketball. They are the 9 seed right now. They're sitting now a game and a half out of the 7 seed, and they're sitting 2.5 games out of the 6 seed, and they're not too far away from the 4 shot as we speak. They're actually, I think, probably 4 games out of the 4 hole. So the Lakers have, 16 games left on the season. So right now it's a game-by-game situation. And if you're a Laker fan, you don't worry about any of the other teams that are around you that you're competing with to get to the playoffs. The Lakers just have to win their games when their games are up. They're not going to win every game, but they're going to have to pretty much win majority of their games. So we got 16 games left. The Lakers need to finish up 11-5. It's that simple. The Lakers need to be 11-5, and they will be in position. They will be in the position that says they are actually a playoff team and not a play-in team. That's the number that I'm giving the Lakers that they have to hit. 11-5 guarantees the 6th seed, in my opinion, at this point. You got a Clipper team that's falling apart. You got a team in Dallas that's actually kind of falling apart as well, too. And then you have a team in Utah that's already fallen all the way out. New Orleans is very close to falling out as well too. That's why I say Portland will be back in the mix very soon, and probably Oklahoma City, because they damn near. I really think Oklahoma City deserves to be in that 10-0 because they've played over and beyond what people expected of them this season. And if you're a dog better, they are your best friend this year. They truly are. You know what I mean? They need to get a reward from every sports book on being the underdog of the year, literally. So with that, the Lakers return Friday night against the Toronto Raptors, and then they have a game on Sunday night against the New York Knicks that will wrap up this quick 5-game homestand before they have to go on the road for 3 more games, and then they'll come back for another 5 games at home as well. So it should be pretty good for the Lakers moving forward. They're in a good position, and as I said before, they really need to be at least 9-1, 8-2 with these 10 home games this month in March. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But that will be the state of the Lakers today. And we'll get back to the Lakers Thursday, Friday. You know what I mean? We're going to take a little day off tomorrow's Thursday. I'm tripping. So pretty much, we'll be back to we'll be bringing the Lakers back around on Friday. Okay, so there it is. State of the Lakers 32-34, sitting at the 9 seed, and we move forward from there. All right, we got ourselves our first game up for NBA Wednesday night. And NBA Wednesday night, we got a Southeast matchup between the Hawks and the Wizards. The Hawks and the Wizards, and we got some breaking news coming in. Jim Boeheim has actually retired. Will not be returning to the school after what happened today, because they did lose on a buzzer beater today. And I did say earlier that I think that Boeheim needs to be done, and literally Twitter agreed, and now Boeheim is done. So Jim Boeheim, 50, I guess he was there 47 seasons. I think he was trying to get to the 50-year mark, but 47 seasons, and it ends with the buzzer beating 3 in the ACC tournament. So, Adrian Autry is going to take over the team now. So, yeah, happy trails to a great coach. We'll talk more about Jimmy B tomorrow. All right, so we got this one 32-33 for the Hawks, 31-34 for the Wizards. These teams are chasing the playoff spot. The Wizards are the 10 seed, while you do have an 8 seed in the Atlanta Hawks right now. They're all in the Southeast. So, the Southeast is in a log jam, just kind of like how the Pacific Division is as well, too, because, the Pacific Division, you do have Sacramento ahead of everybody, but they're only ahead of everybody, but they're only ahead of Phoenix by 2.5 games. And then, 5 to Golden State, 5.5 to the Clippers, and then 7 to the Lakers. That's the slimmest log jam in the league. And then when you look at the Southeast, same situation, but it's only 3 teams here going for that spot. You got Miami in first, you got Atlanta in second, 2.5 out, and you got Washington 3.5 out. But as I said before, both these teams, all 3 of those teams are in the playoffs. So they really are jockeying for playoff position right now as we speak. And so when you look at this situation, you say to yourself that, Atlanta is not too far off from being in the 10 seed spot right now with the loss. And I think that Washington is aware of that. And I think Washington is up for it today. Washington's 2-2 right now in the month of March. They got a good win last night against Detroit, even though it was only by 2 points. They had a great game by Bradley Beal, who had 32 last night. Porzingis chipped in 24, and Kuzma had 23 last night. But, it was kind of a struggle last night against a very, very desperate Detroit team that's kind of going through the motions right now. So the Wizards, off of a back-to-back, actually been a really good team. So tonight, they should be right here in the thick of things. Now, you do have Atlanta, who's lost their first 2 out of 3 for this month, and they lost back-to-back games to Miami. That's kind of serious right there, because they were nipping at Miami's heels. Now the Miami got a little bit of breathing room because of that situation. They got a lot of breathing room. They're actually now up 2.5 games. They were absolutely tied. They were actually kind of tied. You know what I mean? Atlanta came in 32-31, while you had Miami at 33-31. So pretty much, they were a half a game apart. Now it's 2.5 games. So when I look at this one, you got 2 teams that know each other very well. They've been playing each other, very well all season as well, too. So, it's been a while, though. I'm trying to get my numbers together right now, so I know exactly when these 2 played. But they played a back-to-back back in they actually played a back-to-back, and I'm looking at Atlanta. But they actually played a back-to-back not too long ago against Miami. So I'm looking at Washington now. Last time they played was on the 28th of February. Washington actually won that game by 3. And they have played, I'm trying to get this all together. It looks like they've only played each other once this year. So, that's pretty crazy for teams that know that these teams that got to play each other 4 times a season, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. It happens. But they are playing each other back to back. So I get it now. I get it. So that would be their 3rd game. And then they finish up their season series on the 5th. So they got back-to-back games in Washington. And so Atlanta needs to at least split here. But I think tonight Washington takes advantage of this team who's lost 2 in a row, and they wind up getting the win here. And I like them as my dog of the day with the plus 130. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the Celtics and the Blazers. This is a battle of the stars. You got Dame Lillard, Dame Dollar going against Jay Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And, JB and JT are becoming the new, I wouldn't call them Scotty and Mike, but I would like probably like we could say I don't know. These guys are a rare breed. You know what I mean? They're another great duo in a long line of great NBA duos. They kind of remind me of a modern day Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. Just two awesome guys who both got picked very highly by a classic NBA team, and they're just doing the damn thing right now. So pretty much Celtics coming here as a 10.5-point favorite today. The Blazers 31-34. They're right behind the Lakers right now, trying to stay in the play-in situation. You have the Celtics, who are kind of faltering a little bit right now. They were sitting pretty at the number 1 seed most of the year, but now they are dealing with the Bucks emerging. The Bucks went on a 14-game winning streak and pretty much have found themselves now 2.5 games up in the Eastern Conference standings. So Boston's now at number 2 after being number 1 all season. So it comes down to that. But all in all, Boston has had their issues with teams that are inferior to them. And Boston's actually struggling right now. Boston lost Monday night by 4 to Cleveland, and they have lost 3 in a row. And they're 1-3 this month. So, this is a bounce back spot for them because they really don't want to start, getting into bad habits, because everything has worked out so well with Coach Mike Masula. But right now they are starting to catch a little bit of the back end of having a great season. You know what I mean? Where you start losing games you ain't supposed to be losing. So tonight you got a Portland team that comes in here desperate tonight to get themselves a good win. Yes, they've won their last 2 in a row, but they got to keep the winning coming, because they are in a position where if they go on a losing streak, they're out the playoffs. So they're really trying hard to get themselves back in position, because right now there's a 3-way tie for the last playing spot. We got 3 teams that are 31-34. So Portland's trying to make sure that they stay above water at this point. So I truly do feel Portland having a really good game tonight, and Boston kind of playing down to the competition. So I like the Blazers to cover. So I'm taking them with the +10 because that's where they have it at now. So there it is. There it is. We move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into the Mavericks and the Pelicans. This is a very key game tonight between two teams that are kind of going in different directions. The Pelicans at one point were the number 1 seed in the Western Conference about 2.5 months ago. Then Zion Williamson got hurt, and things have not been the same. The Mavericks were playing some of their best basketball, and then they made a surprising trade for Kyrie Irving, who was demanding getting out of Brooklyn. And then they gave up a lot of their core defensive players and core players that complemented Luka very well, to go ahead and get one player that could do it, could be much better than the guys that they just got rid of on the offensive end. But, Kyrie is a very volatile character on a team. So you're trying to figure out whose team it is right now, even though Luka's been the head bro in charge for the last few seasons. But Kyrie's the one that's won a championship before. So once they figure out who's going to lead this team, then they'll probably be in a better spot. But at this point, they've struggled, and they've struggled mightily, in my opinion. They're 2-6 now 3-6 now since the Kyrie trade. So they come into this one 34-32. The Pelicans 31-34. So when you look at the numbers on this game tonight, you say to yourself, okay, Pelicans need this win badly because they are struggling bad. You know what I mean? They are struggling big time. They've went from being one of the better teams in the NBA to a team that's not even going to make the playoffs. They've lost their first 2 out of 3 this month, and they lost 4 in a row to close out the month. So that means that this team has actually lost their last 6 out of 7. So, they're trying to get right back. And they have a 4-game homestand, and they want to start this homestand off accordingly. Now, Dallas is not the greatest road team. Dallas is actually 12-19 away from home, and that's actually a little bit better than what they were before. They've won their first 2 out of 3 games of the month, but that was all on the road. Now they got to do back-to-back home. They got to do home games Wednesday, Saturday. They're playing New Orleans and Memphis. Both are division foes. And then they have Memphis on Monday. So they got a tough 3-game stretch right here before they got to go on the road again and play San Antonio, the Lakers, and Memphis. So they have a quick turnaround, but they're playing Memphis 3 times in the next they're going to play Memphis 3 times in 9 days. So, they're trying to make sure that they stay ahead of the curve, and Memphis may lose the Southwest. So they're still trying to win that division. So you can see that the Mavs are probably going to up the ante a little bit and get themselves in position to get even a higher seed, because right now it seems like the 2 seed is wide open for the taking, in my opinion, because Memphis is really, really walked on a landmine with the situation that Ja Morant is going through right now. So it is what it is at the end of the day, and we move forward from there. But I do like the fact that we have 2 teams here that are hungry and they're desperate right now. That New Orleans is just waiting for Zion to come back. And as I speak about Zion, I get a quick news clip that Zion they'll evaluate him in 2 weeks. And as I just said, you got this team that's lost 2 out of 3, and they got to get it together because they got Dallas tonight, Oklahoma City, Portland, and the Lakers, and this is their next homestand right here. Then they're back on the road with a back-to-back versus Houston, and then they have San Antonio and Charlotte. So they do get to breathe a little easier here by the time that they possibly get Zion back, but then they got to end the month on another 4-game road trip that actually takes them to LA to play the Clippers, Portland, Golden State, and Denver. So they actually got a tough month ahead of them right now. So the Pelicans got to step it up. But all in all, tonight, I just really feel like this one winds up being a very scoreboard game. So we just watch it on the scoreboard. You know what I mean? So I do like the over here. So the over 234 looks like the absolute gem to me. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. Let's go ahead and jump into the Bulls and the Nuggets. The Bulls and the Nuggets tonight. This is a good one. This is an under-the-radar game. The Bulls coming here 29-36. You have the number 1 seed in the Western Conference in Denver, who's absolutely just, as soon as they got to the number 1 spot, they just went ahead and got comfortable, and they haven't moved off. They won their first 2 games of the month as well, too, and they won their last 2 games of the month as well. So this team has actually won their last 8 out of 10 games. So this team is moving all in the right direction. They're trying to sweep this homestand as well. But, when they get into games like this against desperate teams like Chicago, these games wind up being much harder than what they need to be. Now, Chicago's lost the last 2 games in a row, and they did lose by 21 to Phoenix at home, but then came back on Sunday and lost a very close, hard-fought game to the Pacers by 3. So when you see something like that, the Bulls are still playing good basketball at this point. You know what I mean? They're trying hard. And Denver is always a team that kind of goes to sleep at the wheel with teams that they overlook. And I think that they're going to overlook Chicago big time tonight because Chicago's been struggling this month. Let's keep it real. And I think that when you look at everything, when it's all said and done, Chicago is playing for a possible playing spot. They're hovering outside of that 10 hole. So I truly do feel like if they don't win the game, they at least cover this game. And the spread went up a point as well, too, from where it opened at 8. So I like the Bulls tonight with the plus 9.5. And I got it actually at plus 9. They're at plus, and they're at 9.5. They're probably going to go to 10 by tip because they're overbetting the Nuggets, and I don't want to be a part of a team that's getting overbet. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right. We got ourselves the final game here on the docket, and that's going to be the Thunder and the Suns. The Thunder got us a great win last night. They won by double digits against the defending champs, the Warriors, and I know that was I think that was their second or third win against Oklahoma City this year as well, too. I think they're split, but I know they swept them at home. So Oklahoma City's won their last 3 out of 4 games after losing 5 games in a row and closing last month, losing 4 of those games in a row. So pretty much ever since that Laker lost the last Wednesday, they haven't lost. They had 2 back-to-backs against Utah. They took care of their business in that spot, winning by 27 one night, winning by 10 the next night, and then coming back around last night and winning by 9 against the Golden State Warriors. So they got themselves 3 very thorough wins, and they are keeping themselves above water for this playoff race. And they're actually the second leading scoring team in the NBA as well, too, averaging 118 points a game. So, that doesn't get enough coverage, but this team can score and they can shoot free throws. They're 7th in that category as well, too. So you easily can trust them tonight. They got a 13.5 point spread, but I know Shea's not going to play. So that's what the real gripe is. But I still think 13.5 is a lot of points. But Phoenix has rekindled their defense somewhat, and I've noticed that with them. So I truly do feel like the way that they're playing defense does call for this game to go under tonight. Now, Phoenix is playing great basketball right now. Ever since Durant has entered the lineup, they're 3-0. And this is right after the Milwaukee loss. As soon as KD comes into the fold, and they're good to go. And pretty much what happens is that Phoenix is in place right now. They got Oklahoma City tonight. Then they got a big one against Sacramento Saturday. And then they have Golden State on the road Monday. So these 3 games coming up are huge for Phoenix as they try to move into the number 1 spot in the Pacific Division and move themselves up the ladder in the Western Conference as well, too. And then they got Milwaukee at home as well, too, on the 14th next week. So they have themselves 4 out of their next 5 games on the road starting tonight. So there it is. There it is. I like the under here. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And that's going to be the Thunder and the Suns. All right. So pretty much with that, let's go ahead and we're going to take another quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into talking tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden St, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. So let's go ahead and jump into these talking tickets. And up first, we have ourselves the CBB PrimeTime PK6. The CBB PrimeTime PK6 is at 44-1 today. We have Ohio State money line minus 135. We also have UNC today. Yeah, I'm being a little cocky. I'm being a little over cocky, I think, because, UNC has been a real headache for me all season, but we're in ACC tourney time. So I truly do feel like this team is going to show up. And they're going to show out as well, too. I love that plus six. I love the 6-1 that I'm getting. And then I saw the other day they were at plus 750. So that means you're damn near getting an 8-1 now for them to win this tournament. And this is a wide open tournament, and it's so wide open that the favorite is actually plus 265 to win it. So this is absolutely insane. So I do like UNC tonight with the 11.5 to roll over Boston College. Even though Boston College did play last night, I don't care. I think that UNC absolutely trashes those guys today. Then you got Mount St. Mary's playing against the number 1 seed in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference tournament. In the second round, Iona is a monster favorite today, but I think Mount St. Mary's, the team that has returned to their old conference, is going to go ahead and cover this one with the plus 14. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll see how it checks out. Then we got West Virginia with the -4 tonight in their Big 12 game. In the first round, they're going against Texas Tech as well, too. Texas Tech is a team that just cannot wait for the season to end. Their coach just got suspended for some racial comments to a player. So, at the end of the day, this team has no organization. They are absolutely cooked. I see West Virginia winning by way more than 4 points. This might be your easiest bet of the day. Then you have Georgetown plus 11 tonight. They are playing the nightcap game at the Garden. We all know why, because they're playing against Villanova, and it will be the one sellout that we do. It is the guaranteed sellout tonight at the Garden. It doesn't matter how bad G-Town is. Their fans are faithful. They are loyal, and they do remember 2020 when this team did come out of nowhere and win the Big East tournament in emphatic fashion as well, too. They absolutely crushed Creighton in the title game. So we have Utah money line tonight in the toss-up game in the Pac-12 tournament, and they will be playing Stanford. Stanford's always a team that figures out ways to get a win or two in the Pacific 12 tournament, but I don't think that's going to happen this season. So I like Utah tonight with the -110 in a 50-50 spot. That is a 44-1 ticket. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so we have ourselves the Dog Day Pick 4, and I'm going a little heavy today. 187 in your mouth, fool. You know what I mean? So 187, and no, it's no Snoop Dogg versus, it's no codes or anything to kill nobody, none of that. It's just 187-1. That means that you put $1 on this bad boy, you coming up off of almost $200 for a $1 ticket. But I would say put a little bit more on that bad boy. You put 10 on it, you get 1,800 back. You put 5 on it, you get 900 back. So you do the math. It's small risk, big reward. I got Lafayette money line plus 700. They are in the Patriot title game today. St. Peter's plus 230 playing in the second round of the Metro tournament. Then we have SEC play with the first round. Georgia, I don't know why Georgia's the actual dog here, and they're the team that has the winning record. LSU has been an absolute disappointment, but I know LSU has the better roster, but at the end of the day, I don't care. I think Georgia takes this overrated team out of here. So I'm taking them with the plus 130 Georgia. And then we finish up with the lowly Minnesota Golden Gophers. They figured out a way to win on senior night, and Nebraska's just a team that's vulnerable for a big upset here. It doesn't matter if Minnesota's a single-digit win team for the season. This is a postseason conference tournament. Anything goes. I like Minnesota tonight with the plus 210. I hope we get this lotto ticket home tonight, because if we do, everybody's signing up for March Madness. I don't care. I do not care. If I don't get 10 signups, if we hit this one, I will go ahead and everybody will only my exclusive clients will be getting the plays, because that's utterly disrespectful. I literally handed you the rent. So you can't play like you can't come over here and join the team. I'm just kidding. But, man, let's go ahead and see if we can get this one home and have a good time. That's what it's all about. So, but if you do want to become a client, let me know, because we do have open spaces for March Madness this month. I will be closing the door once we get to day one, because I don't want to be taking on too many people for the tournament this year. I already have enough people as is, but I do have the door open for a good 10-20 new clients. So you guys let me know. All right, so that's going to be the group for that, and we go now to the next talking ticket, and that's going to be the NBA Super High Five. Our dog of the day in the NBA will be the Wizards plus 130. Got the Blazers plus 10 tonight, over 234 with the Mavs and the Pelicans, the under 233.5 with the Thunder and the Suns, and then we end up with the Bulls plus 9 tonight. So there it goes, 30-1 ticket, 20 gets you 600. 50 gets you 1,500. 10 gets you 300. So I'm just giving you the numbers if you don't understand what the odds are when it says 30-1. So there it is. There it is. That's going to be talking tickets for today, and that's going to be our show for today. So I thank you guys very much for tuning in. You guys are the absolute best. There is no me without you. And as I always like to say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and as the movement is moving, and this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.